left the Christian fundamentalist church and religion, I realized that Christianity and its church teach its members that free thinkers are going to hell. For those who grew up in Christianity, you're well versed with the idea that anybody who isn't a specific kind of Christian is going to hell. You can even be a Christian, but if you're not the right kind of Christian out of 40,000 Christian denominations, you're still possibly going to hell. And I find it ironic that you can be a part of the same religion and people will still look at you like you're lost if you're in a very liberal church and the other person is very conservative. And not much changes. I grew up in Baptist, so you have your very fundamentalist, very masculine, authoritarian leadership, and unfortunately, we moved to Calvinism, as I call it, the darkest part of Christianity, the most alpha male, the most misogynistic. It is not an uplifting part of Christianity. It really isn't. Just when you think Christianity can't get any worse, here comes Calvinism to make sure you know that there is something worse out there, more misogynistic, more you're worthless. It just goes on. Organized religion really doesn't like free thinkers. They like everybody to be the same way, kind of like the movie The Giver or A Wrinkle in Time. They really don't like people having their own opinions, their own expectations, because they believe one thing. And if you don't believe those things, you're a threat to everybody. This is why Christianity does not like women to have equal reproduction, equal rights, just anything with equality. Fundamentalism is a very, very dark part of Christianity. It's the white man's privilege, women are second class part of Christianity. I'm not saying all the other denominations aren't like that. I'm just saying those are the groups of Christians that seem to go the darkest and just the most extreme. Just because a Christian doesn't have the exact view of the Trinity, salvation, or just because someone's Arminius and another person is Calvinistic, does not mean that you're any less of a Christian. Now, I'm as far not a Christian as possible. I'm an atheist. But I grew up in a culture where believing in God wasn't enough. Believing in Jesus wasn't enough. Every 3 to 5 years, my parents would change everything to a completely different form of Christianity, a different denomination. And they would say, this is the right thing. After the third change, I realized that somebody is delusional. You cannot change your mind 3 times in 12 years and say, before and after, well, this was 100% right. This is the way God says you're supposed to live. And then you change everything. You lose your credibility. How many people have been killed, martyred, colonialized, threatened with death or mutilation because they would not change their beliefs, or God forbid, they were a Muslim when they should have been Christian during the Crusades? It still goes on. There are places in the world where you cannot serve as absolute leader if you're a Catholic. The English royal family is a good example. France wouldn't let women be in control for hundreds of years. And if you go to countries ruled by patriarchal, Abrahamic religions, you probably won't see a female leader unless they also support the rainbow community. If you want to be taken seriously as a religion, don't have 40,000 denominations. Don't have thousands of Christian texts or translation of the Bible. You don't have credibility anymore. You're a joke. That's what it is. I'm not going to be a part of a religion that kills and fights and tears itself apart. 12 times in my youth, they did that in 12 different churches. Tore the church apart from everything from carpet color, a pastor who isn't qualified, but 60% want him anyway. They will tear apart a church's constitution to get what they want. They will throw people out of churches for daring to teach something that's actually in the Bible. They just don't agree with it. That one was kind of funny. Happened to my parents at 3 different churches. There are churches out there that will frame their leaders so someone else can get in charge with illicit material. That happened in Alaska. Churches, they want money, they want your adoration, and when you finally give it and they fail to live up to the dynamics they've created, they'll blame you for doing exactly what you showed them to do. That's church in a nutshell. All the persecutions, the massacres, the colonialism, 7% of all wars in human history were about differences in Bible translation. And Protestants and Catholics, they killed each other. Huguenots, I mean, those poor people. The French Protestant, boy, were they persecuted. Calvin and Martin Luther. Luther is, well, he's considered the founder of Lutheranism. Some very big American and European denominations of Christianity. They were all persecuted. Most of them shouldn't have lived their whole lives because they were actually wanted. They were going to be killed because some leader somewhere decided that if you don't believe exactly the way I do, then you're a threat to my power. Because back then, religion was a type of power. It's not a surprise to me. But Christianity, just like Islam and Judaism and every branch of organized religions, have killed themselves and other people who were similar or very different because somebody dared to have a different interpretation of a Bible that was written by ignorant misogynists. So, I don't care how people believe. Just don't vote to take away other people's equal rights. View everyone as equal, interesting, and welcome members of society. We won't have a problem. But the idea that you have to believe the way everyone else believes, or else you're not welcome at a church, is stupid. It's cold, it's calculating, and it's unbiblical. You read most of the books in the New Testament. People were at churches whose doctrines and constitutions were different than their beliefs. You don't have to start a new denomination or print a new Bible translation or, heaven forbid, leave in a huff because they dare to have something different than what you're used to. I've seen 2 churches tear themselves apart for the King James Bible. Ironically, historically, the King James Bible is named after a Scottish and English king, King James, who was rumored to be gay. Imagine tearing your country and church apart over something a gay King of England wrote. It's funny, actually, until it starts hurting people. Then it's not funny anymore. Christians, religious people in general, would probably get along with each other if they were all atheists. But because they have some off-the-wall belief or code, they will kill each other. They will ostracize people. They will spread rumors about people. They will make your life a living hell on earth if you dare to not agree with them or have a different belief system. And I've made videos probably 6 months ago on what churches did in my backstory. The worst were Baptist churches, which ironically is where the most child sex abuse happens. In the Protestant denominations anyway. It's not a surprise that things happen in churches, because where there is moral superiority, or what I call supercilious pigs, and I'm not talking about Christians here, I'm talking about people who take their religion so seriously they will no longer speak to someone in their family because they dare to be an atheist, or they are a liberal. I mean, off-the-wall religious people who are very hypocritical is the kind of people I'm talking about. Those are the kind of people who will justify anything. And it's not worth debating about it. It's not worth even having the conversation. Christianity and all major monotheistic, patriarchal, Abrahamic religions hate anything that takes away their privilege, their power and influence, and impact their view of heaven, hell, and existence. And it doesn't matter if you believe in the same God. It doesn't matter how long you've been in a church. If they can gain power or get something out of it, they will walk over your body to get it. Friendships, they only last as long as the other person realizes, oh, if I was friends with that group, I could get more prestige. Friendships don't last very long when there are power struggles. My parents have been in 9 churches with those power struggles. It's always interesting how the more religious and conservative someone is, the more likelihood they will justify that God told them to blow something up, or God said I should take another wife. It's always interesting what religious people will try to justify in order to sleep at night, or to sleep with someone new. There's always that. It's not a surprise to me at all. I always joke that the only people who take it seriously are the people that I don't want to be in a room with. I don't want anything to do with these kind of people. And if you're in a church that doesn't tear itself apart or have continuous struggle and power struggles, you are lucky. The more liberal, open-minded, and free-thinking a church allows and consistently is, the more safer it is for everyone. Nothing brings out the worst behavior imaginable, like religion and God. I mean, every September 11th, we remember an event that was brought about by extremists who believed that their God was telling them to do something. Every death cult in American history, they basically killed themselves and their own kids because they believed that somebody else outside of where they lived was trying or didn't believe the way they did. So they saw them as a threat. People believe differently. And as long as they're not taking away your rights or looking and seeing you as an inferior human being, I don't care what people do. But there is no hate like Christian love.